Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and the patch 1107, a future upcoming update for the War Within expansion, is bringing with it so many new mounts for players to work towards and add to their collection. Over the last few major updates, they've been adding in retroactively mounts and rewards for doing completionist content within expansions. Whether it was the Shade Beast of Shadowlands, the Taven, the Goodest Boy of Dragonflight, or potentially the upcoming Shade of Doubt mount arriving with the drop of 1107, but it seems that they're adding another one, a completionist achievement mount for the expansion of Battle for Azeroth, with players getting access to Jani, the Trash Raptor Loa, as a mount as a fan favorite character. To get Jani, players will have to unlock a Battle for Azeroth completionist achievement of A Farewell to Arms, a big meta achievement for the entire expansion, which you can actually start working on right now. In the patch 1105 this moment, and if you complete all these achievements right now, you can simply then log in 1107 to collect your Jani. Since this is a longer guide video, I do have chapter marks down below so you can skip around whenever you need to. Down in the description I also have the WoWHead link to the actual article regarding the achievement as the guides for it. We'll also have a written version of this on our Discord, and I highly recommend for you to get the RareScanner Addon in order to make the mount grind a little bit easier. As always, if you want to see more guides like these for the War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. Starting off with some of the easier achievements we'll have is Uldir, Battle for Dalaran, Crucible of Storms, Eternal Palace, and Ny'alotha raids. And all you have to do is complete these raids on at least normal difficulty. Some of these raids, like Eternal Palace, you first will need to unlock the Zone of Najatar in order to enter, but from the last few patches, they've actually hotfixed a lot of the mechanics in these fights, making them a lot easier to solo. So you don't really need to have the craziest gear on your character since you really outscale a lot of the content, and if you set all these raids to at least normal, you should be able to get through them fairly easily. The only one that gave people a lot of trouble is Ny'alotha, because previously you needed to have the Legendary Cloak and the Necklace for Heart of Azeroth in order to not be mind controlled for the last two bosses. It's part of the story questline that kind of makes sense within the context of the raid and the story of the Black Empire. That being said, it seems that has been fixed as of, or at least I saw forum post from May of this year claiming that this is no longer the issue, although you are still going to have to work on getting your Heart of Azeroth and upgrading it as well as your cloak in order to unlock some of the other achievements for the whole meta achievement for BFA. But it's always nice just knowing that you don't necessarily need them in order to at least get some of these achievements out of the way. Another easy one that's also incredibly fast to unlock is Battle for Azeroth Dungeon Hero, where all you have to do is complete every single BFA dungeon, or at least the 8 base starting dungeons on heroic difficulty, which you can easily blaze through on a max level character. From there on, we are going to be getting into a little bit more of a difficult categories though, and this is going to be our very first very grindy achievement filled with collectathons. This one is separated for you to aid both the Zandalari as well as the Kultirans of Kultiras in order to be able to unlock zone-wide exploration achievements. That being said, because Battle for Azeroth was broken up as an expansion with two separate experiences, one for the Horde and one for Alliance, it will require for you to at least have one Horde and Alliance character working simultaneously, one working on the Horde side of things, one on the Alliance, and all those achievements will be able to be combined together thanks to the Warband system. First, I want to go over the Horde side of things, starting with the achievement of Hot Tropic, and this one is basically going to be exploration of the main Zuldazar area. Some of these are going to have repeating objectives, such as Adventurer of Zuldazar is going to be the same for Nazmir and Vol'dun, where you have to defeat all special encounters, which basically are rares and special events and mini bosses within the zones. Use RareScanner to have an easier time finding all of these. The same can be said about the treasures of Zuldazar as well as all of the other zones. RareScanner can give you some context and some ideas as to where you may be able to find a lot of the treasures and how to solve them. From there on though, we do get some faction specific achievements because low expectations, when I click it, it doesn't show up as an Alliance character. This one is a unique achievement where you have to collect all the buffs from the variety of different Loa that can be worshipped by the Zandalari. That being said, you first need to do the main story questline as well as some of the side quests in order to be able to claim those buffs from the Loa after you help them out in the open world. But then after you do all the side quests for the Loa, getting all the buffs at one point or another is incredibly easy. And check out our links in the Discord that we'll have for a direct section on WoWHead as to how you can help yourself unlock all of these. The same thing can be said with Bow to Your Masters. This one requires you to slash bow at every single Loa in Zandalar. as in the Loa in Vol'dun, Loa in Nazmir, as well as in the Zuldazar area. For some of these Loa, you are going to have to do special activities and do certain quest lines in order to be able to even interact with them. So again, check out our Discord link for a more direct achievement specifically on WoWHead that gives a little bit more context as to how you can actually interact with all of the different Loa and which quests and side quests you need to complete in order to be able to complete Bounty Masters. Get Hacked is another one that's technically doable by Alliance players, but it's much easier on the Horde. In order to get hacked, you first need to unlock dailies, or rather world activities, with Jani, the Trash Loa, which you'll need to first unlock Jani by going to the markets of Dalaran, and you'll start with a quest called Pests. Complete the short questline to be able to unlock special tasks from Jani, and afterwards you need to find 12 mysterious trash piles scattered all over Zandalar and perform special tasks for Jani in order to be able to get the Get Hacked achievement. Again, links to that could also be found in our Discord channel below. A Loa of a Tale is a simple completionist achievement where you need to just find all the different volumes of Tales of the Loa. This one is incredibly easy. Again, check the WoWHead links in our Discord channel in order to get more detailed info as to where you could find all of the different tales. The next achievement is Eating Out of the Palm of My Tiny Hand, where you need to feed 3 Brutosaurs their favorite foods in Zandalar. It does take you a little bit of a while to find, if you're looking for yourself, where you could find these foods, but you essentially need to find 3 different vendors in all 3 zones, the Zuldazar, Nazmir, as well as in Vol'dun. One of those vendors is going to be in Scale Trader Post in Zuldazar. Talk to Golkada to purchase the extra dry fruit cake. Then travel to Nazmir near Terrace of Sorrows and talk to Blind Wunja, surprisingly friendly blood troll, where you could purchase your primitive watermelon. Afterwards, travel to Vol'dun northwest of Atul Amman and purchase Snake on a Stick from a Volpera vendor. And afterwards, you find Brutosaurs and feed it to them, and each Brutosaur is going to have a different item that they prefer. Basically, you can't really fail this one. You just gotta click on each item until the Brutosaur eats it. There's a Brutosaur near Zobal Ruins in Nazmir, then another one a little bit west out in Dalaran near the main city, as well as Old Stompy found way north of the Tortaka Refuge in Vol'dun. But we'll also have links to those available also in our Discord in case you want to have an easier time finding all of them. And the final achievement is going to be Archery Rider, which means you just need to find the totems of Gonk in Zuldazar as a Horde character and then run over them to maintain the speed of Gonk for 3 minutes. This one is pretty easy if you could find 2 totems next to each other and you just kind of flip back and forth between them. This one just takes a little bit of time, but a very, very easy one to do. And all I have to do is maintain this buff for 3 minutes to get the achievement. From there, we move on to Bon Voyage, which is the Nazmir version of this, with Adventure of Nazmir for all the rare events, but treasures as well, so that is easily solved with the RareScanner. And from there, it's a lot more collectathons from here on, with Hot Tropic really being the only one where there's like actually a lot of things that you have to do. With Bon Voyage, for example, with Carved in Stone, you need to study the history of blood trolls by locating the following pictographs, which I found in just 4 locations. Links to that in our Discord channel. But Bon Voyage also does have a couple achievements that are just not that great because they're very RNG. Like, it's getting really out of hand, where you have to become the Hand of Fate with Bon Samedi and complete a world quest in Nazmir called Getting Out of Hand, and you need to complete that world quest in 20 seconds. When you become the Hand of Bon Samedi, you get a bunch of different special abilities that basically one-shot multiple enemies, so you need to group them up as quickly as you can and one-shot them as quickly as possible, but you have to wait until the world quest is available. Eat Your Greens is a simple world quest where all you have to do is sample all the edible plants of Nazmir. This one is generally easy to do and you could find these plants all over the place, but if you want for more direct locations, again, links in our Discord channel will give you a bit more info to work with. Hop and Sad is an achievement where you have to find all the lost spawns of Kragwa and click on them to have them return back to their home. Again, WoWHead comment section has an excellent catalog of exactly where every single one of these frogs are, which you will find again on our Discord guide. Revenge Best Served Speedily is another achievement where you have to win until the world quest is available and then complete it in 45 seconds. And the world quest you're looking for will be spawning in the eastern side of Nazmir called The Revenge of Ragwa. It's another one of those a little bit RNG achievements where you just have to wait until the right quest is available. However, we're not done yet, because then you have a Most Efficient Apocalypse, which is another world quest related achievement, which requires you to have Cancel the Blood Trolls Apocalypse world quest active, and then you need to complete that world quest in 30 seconds. From there, we get the achievement of Dune Squad, which will finish us out in the Horde side with Dune, where we have the adventure of Dune for all the different rare encounters, but also the treasures, again, easily usable or easily completable with the RareScanner Addon. Then we have Scavenger the Sands, which is another collectathon where you have to collect all of the junk items in Sands of Dune, and if you want more detailed maps of where you could find every single one of these little junk treasures, visit our Discord channel for more links on that info. Dune Rider is an interesting one where you have to find throughout Dune rickety planks that you will be able to ride on, and you have to find all 5 of them and ride on them for a handful of seconds. Not a difficult one to do, and you can actually find some really cool planks because one of them is on top of this big snake statue and you get to ride and surf down it. It's pretty awesome, and again, links to that found in our Discord channel. Scourge of Zemlan is an interesting one because you have to travel to the main area of Zemlan, the port of Zemlan specifically, and there you need to kill pirates while accompanied by Old Bonebite. But to be able to summon Old Bonebite, you first need to find a couple of things. You need to find a brew, a map, as well as a pirate hat, and each one of these items provides you a different combat buff. Once you have all 3 buffs, then you get accompanied by Old Bonebite, which is where you then run around and kill all of the undead pirates in the area. Adept Sandfisher is another one for Dune Squad that is more related to a world quest where you need to collect sandworm scales during a world quest called Sand Fishing. When the world quest is up, all you have to do is spam the sand fishing pole button whenever it's available to summon as many quest mobs as possible, and the way to cheese this one is don't loot the fangs on these mobs in order to make sure that the world quest never despawns. This way you can just keep killing these worms over and over until you get all of the different scales, which apparently have a very low drop rate. Champion of the Vulpera achievement requires you to rescue 50 Vulpera somewhere anywhere in Dune. The easiest way to do so is to go to where Scorpox enemy spawns on the map and then look over at the Sethrak nearby. You'll notice that all of the Sethrak are using the poor Vulpera to dig in the sand. All you have to do for this one to make it the easiest possible is run over to where the Sethrak are while mounted to get them to aggro to you. Once they aggro to you, the Vulpera escape, which counts towards that achievement. And all I have to do is pull a bunch of them near you and then fly off to reset them, because when they get reset, they get the Vulpera back, and then you can do the same thing over and over in order to be able to kind of farm out this achievement really quickly. The last one is going to be Scavenge like a Vulpera, which will require a handful of things to line up together in order to be able to get this achievement, because you can only get it during the faction incursions into Dune, which is where the opposing faction gets to invade into certain zones. But during the incursion into Dune, where the Alliance is attacking that zone, then you'll be able to talk to a Vulpera called Nisha to get the buff of Vulpera for a day. And while the buff is available during the incursion, you will then need to use a archaeology dig site to dig somewhere out in Dune. This means you will want to learn archaeology professional on your character, at least for the Battle for Azeroth expansion, and then kind of get lucky with the buff being active, but also the dig site being available in Dune at the same time. And from here on, we are going to talk about all of the exploration achievements for the Alliance site, where you will need at least an Alliance character in order to be able to get majority of these. Though the Alliance site, a lot of these are a lot more straightforward, especially in zones like Drustvar. Like starting off with the Tiergard Sound, you have the adventure of Tiergard, which is killing all the rares, as well as treasures, which again done as easily with RareScanner Addon. Bless the Rains down on Freehold requires for you to have a world quest for Vile Bombardment, with Swab this being specifically the world quest that is active, and while flying around on a bird, dropping in your Vile Bombardments, you want to make sure to hit the Banana Horde, Sweetie's Feast, Cart of Cutlass, and the Blacktooth Brew with your bombardment, and this one you'll just have to wait until the world quest is active. Then we have some of the easy ones, such as Sailed in Sea Minor, where you have to find forbidden sea shanties all throughout Tiergard Sound. This one's really easy with a WoWHead link available in our Discord channel. Then we have 3 Sheets to the Wind, where you have to acquire all Kultiran drinks, and this one is pretty easy to do for the most part. All you have to do is walk around Borealis and talk to any single vendor, whether one inside of an inn or working behind a tavern, and then buy up all of the drinks until you have every single one of them. Though, if you do want for a more specific locations for which vendors you should be going to, if you're trying to save as much gold as possible, then we'll also have a link to that in our Discord channel as well. Then we also have an achievement called Kultiran Dance for. This one you will require another player to help you out with, because you'll need to use a /dance emote with another player while hanging around in the Norwinton estate, specifically on the dance floor area. So you may want to get a friend or two to help you with this one. Maybe they're doing the same achievement run as you, so you might as well help each other out with this one specifically. While we are in Norwington, we also want to get the Reigning Champion achievement, where you need to score at least 600 points in our Norwington Estate Horse Show. where to begin the horse show, you'll just want to walk up to the horse named Cooper and then jump over barricades to earn points. Every single barricade you jump over gives you 1 point, and you need 600 of them, which means that this quest, or rather the event, isn't all that difficult. It can sometimes get buggy because sometimes it doesn't really count you for points whenever you jump over the barricades, but this one is a slow and steady, but eventually you get all the points that you need. And finally, we have a side quest called The Long Con, where you need to talk to Roko, the Wandering Merchant, and complete his storyline. Roko can usually be found either outside of Freehold or in Borealis, hanging out in the market. So you just start talking to Roko, do the main story, or do the side storyline, and do it all the way through to get the Long Con achievement. Then we have Song of the Storms, where we have to complete the entirety of Stormsong Valley. Just like the other zones, we have the Adventurer as well as the Treasures, which is the rare finding and treasure finding, which can be done with a RareScanner Addon. But then we have some of the more fun achievements, such as clever use of mechanical explosives, which is kind of like an Easter egg or a nod to the original kill for Lich King himself back in Wrath of the Lich King, where you have to find a Lichen King, kind of like a Lich King but not quite, and use Sporonite bombs on this enemy. You can buy these bombs easily on the auction house. You just want to make sure to get in combat in a aggro with the rare first before throwing those bombs to get the achievement to count towards you. The next achievement is called These Hills Sing, where you'll need to enjoy a luncheon at a special location in Stormsong Valley. You'll first want to head over to Branadam village in Stormsong, and across the bridge from the village, you'll find a warehouse. You'll be able to check inside the warehouse to see if a treasure is spawned. There's a good chance if you played back in BFA, you might have looted that treasure at some point. If you already did, then you'll see that treasure also appearing on the vendor Bracken Branadam in order to be able to purchase yourself a luncheon. Once you have a luncheon, afterwards head to the top of the peaks directly west of that village and then enjoy a nice scenic view as well as a brand new achievement. With the Legends of Tide Sages, it's another collectathon where you just need to discover all of the different lore objects from the Stormsong Valley. The link in our Discord channel with all the different locations should help you find all of them fairly quickly. Everyday Truffling is a quest where you have to find all the different truffles and maintain all 4 buffs at the same time from every single one of these truffles. The easiest way to actually look for truffles yourself is to loot the pick nose from the carved wooden chest in Briarback Crawl, which is like a big area where a bunch of quill boars are. And after you get yourself a pick nose, you can then run around collecting as many truffles as possible, though they're not as easy to really find. They don't have any kind of outline, they don't sparkle, they just kind of are an object in game, but you can't interact with them unless you're wearing the pig nose. And you have to find 4 different types of truffles and eat them in a very specific order in order to make sure all of the buffs are active at the same time. However, while working on this achievement, I also found that you can actually buy a majority of these truffles from the auction house as well, although one of them is a lot more expensive than the rest, however. So you can either look for the truffles yourself, with the void truffle or the violet truffle being the rarest one to find, or you can just buy them on the auction house if you just want to skip through it. And you want to collect all the truffles at the same time, making sure to eat them in the order of, you want to make sure to eat the truffles that give you a buff first, and then eat the final truffle that doesn't give you a buff but only restores you mana last. And once you collect all 4 types, you consume them to get the achievement. Let's Be Friends is a bit of a side quest daily achievement that takes a little bit of time to find out how to even unlock it. First of all, you'll need to go to Mildenhall Meadery, located in Stormsong Valley. And there in Mildenhall Meadery, you'll need to slay flowing honey enemies until you loot one of them with an annealed honey amulet. Once you get the amulet, you'll want to then head back to Borealis to find a special NPC of Aurelian Middenall. She travels around, kind of stopping over here south of the Ashvane docks. She'll then head over to outskirts of the Proudmoore Keep, and then she'll head all the way down below Mariner's Row, somewhere down here. So she is a traveling merchant, and it may take you a little bit of time to actually find her. But once you do find her, you give you the amulet in order to be able to progress the questline further, which will then lead you to Ansel back at the Mildenhall Meadery, who's hanging out in the basement of the meadery trying to concoct a new potion formula. And after you find him, this begins a daily questline where then you'll be able to keep coming back again and again until you get to help Middenall create the perfect growth formula, and you also will be able to earn a brand new pet, Bumbles the Bee, as well as the achievement together with it. Links to that whole achievement and how to unlock it in our Discord channel as well. And the last achievement is going to be Deadliest Cache, where you'll want to travel a little bit west of Fort Dalen to this island right here, which is called a Thresher's Wharf. There you'll complete a Deadliest Cache side quest, and there's 4 of them where you'll have these different Kulturans spin you a tale. And it's just a fun quest line that's a bit of a nod to the quest that was available back in Cataclysm, where a dwarf described the story of how he punched Deathwing in the face. Lastly, for the Kultira side of things, we have When the Drust Settles, which is an achievement where you get to experience everything that has to do with Drustvar. This one is probably the most straightforward one because it's mostly a collectathon. You have the Adventurers of Drustvar as well as Treasures of Drustvar, which are all pretty easy to do with the RareScanner add-on. The only one that actually takes you a little bit of time to really work on is Better, Faster, Stronger, where you need to simultaneously have all 4 of the Witch's Boons, but also Witch's Curses available at the same time. For this one, you'll want to head over to Crimson Forest, found in the western side of Drustvar, and then you'll want to find Witch's Brews scattered all over the place. Every time you drink a brew, it gives you a randomized buff. It seems like every single brew you find only has one type of buff, so you can't just keep drinking the same one to fish for random buffs. You just have to run around and drink as many as you can, and hopefully have all of these buffs as well as debuffs active at the same time. This one does seem a little bit random and may take you a few tries before you really get it done properly. The rest of these, however, are just collectathons, from the Sausage Sampler to Curse Game Hunter, Drust the Facts Ma'am, as well as Everything Old is New Again. All of those are just collectathon achievements, which we'll have linked in the description. None of them are all that interesting or important. You just go to a place, talk to a guy, or go to a place and loot a thing, and once you looted enough of these things, you get the achievement. They're all very, very straightforward and not as interesting as some of the other ones, honestly. And that's going to be all the zone explorations one, but we also have Lore Master of Zandalar and Lore Master of Kultiras, which both of them will require for you to do the main story quest line for each of the other factions. So you'll need to do the main intro faction and the main faction of the zones for Alliance character and for your Horde character. Exploring all of the original zones also unlocks you Battle for Azeroth Explorer achievement, and completing 100 different world quests. You heard it right, different. So it's going to be a lot of world quests you have to do, will allow you to unlock the wide world of quests and also award you a Honeyback Hive Mother mount. And that one is probably going to be one of the very first grinds that you're going to have to do, although there are a few more grinds for us to consider, though we won't be getting to them in just a second here. Next one is going to be War Stories, which is an achievement where you have to complete each of the Battle for Azeroth quest achievements listed below, and basically all of them are going to be the main story chapters from the main Warfront campaign. Not only is this going to be part of the very, very basics of the main achievements, but like the ones for the starting zones for Zandalari and the Kultiras, but also for the following patches afterwards as well. And you will have to complete both of these on Alliance and or Horde characters in order to be able to get all of these achievements unlocked. The benefits of doing all of these, however, is also it'll unlock you some of the other zones and some of the other areas as you follow the main Warfront questline storylines. This one will take you a little bit to do separately on Alliance and Horde, but eventually they do start to merge together at some point where Alliance and Horde basically have the same experience, so you won't have to do everything as Alliance and Horde separately, just some parts of it. Afterwards, we got Azerothian Diplomat, where all you have to do is earn Revered with all of the main factions of this expansion. From the Alliance and the Horde, for example, these are going to be a little different. For Alliance, it is Proudmoore and Morality, Order of Embers, Storm's Wake, 7th Legion, Champions of Azeroth, and Tertolan. And for the Horde, they have like their own version, but it basically allows you to work for one or the other, but you still are able to accomplish and complete the same achievement. Then we got another one that may be a little bit grindy, but it's called Expedition Leader, where you have to complete all of the different island expedition achievements listed below. And for this one, you basically just have to queue for islands and complete all of the different events and all of the unique encounters. Islands are on a set rotation where every single week, it seems, you will have 3 different maps with objectives varying a little bit, but also the enemies inside of these islands varying a little bit. It's been a second since I've really done too many island farms myself, but that's more or less how it used to function back in Battle for Azeroth. So this may take you a couple of weeks to really get all the different scenarios, all the different encounters, all the different quests for you to complete in order to be able to fully finish out this achievement. This one may take you a little bit of time, but all of the quests and the actual achievements for this one are very, very straightforward. You just gotta get lucky to get the right type of island, right type of enemy, and the right type of encounters, as well as NPCs for you to, let's say, do quests for within these islands. So it's a kind of a grinding one, but also a very, very straightforward achievement at the same time. Then we also have the achievement called Maximum Effort, where you basically have to interact with the War Effort achievement, which is essentially Warfronts. Now, Warfronts used to be something that you had to queue as like a mini raid, but they've since made it so you can queue as a much smaller group, if not solo at this point. but you do have to wait until a warfront is available for your faction before you can queue for it. There's only two types of warfronts to queue for, either the Battle for Stormguard or in Darkshore, and all you have to do in there is complete all of these achievements, which most of them have to do with winning the actual warfront, controlling all of the different points, being able to recruit all of your little followers and NPCs in there to maximum rank in order to have an easier time pushing objectives. But yeah, this one is just basically gonna have to wait until a warfront is available, then run through a warfront as many times as you want to, maximizing everything you can do in there as best as you can. And it's even easier if you have a smaller group of friends that are willing to do this together, because if you have a smaller group that works at the same time, you'll have an easier, much easier time getting all of these different objectives done in order to get the maximum effort achievement. From there though, we are back to something a little bit grindier, but also something a little bit straightforward, the Undersea Usurper. As you do the main storyline, you'll be able to unlock a new zone of Mecha-Done. And inside of this new zone of Mecha-Done, you basically just have to do everything in there, from slaying rares, looting treasures, solving puzzles, grinding reputations with different factions, one for Alliance and one for Horde, though you can only just focus on one if you want to, because this is where they stop separating Alliance and Horde as much, and you can just focus on a single character to get this done. And also there's a lot of different followers you can upgrade with weekly and daily activities and such, and all of it is not really complicated. A lot of it is straightforward once you actually get into the zone and do the main quest line, because it shows you exactly how to interact with the zone and all of its objectives. None of it is difficult, but it will take some time in order to get all of it done at once. Again, links to all the WoWHead stuff in order to get more context and idea as to how to accomplish all of these things in our Discord channel as well. And the comment section for all of this achievement in particular is incredibly helpful if you get stuck on any one of these objectives. Not only do we have Mecha-Done to grind through, but also Mecha-Done with the Mecha-Done achievement. Very similar to Mecha-Done, you're going to be basically doing a lot of the same stuff, from slaying rares to looting treasures, but also collecting a bunch of things and like recipes, for example, from the junkyard, and then creating a bunch of items with junkyard tinkering, which was a fun little mechanic back in the day that allowed you to create items and even mounts and other cosmetics and toys and such, which does take a little bit of time to farm up for, but it's not really all that bad. The tinkering can definitely take a little bit of time to get used to, and you also need to complete the main storyline for this one as well, but it's a smaller zone and it's a little bit more condensed compared to Mecha-Done, so this one I think would be a little bit easier to get through if you're just trying to work through one or the other. And to finish off the expansion storylines, we have the Black Empire, or Black Empire State of Mind achievement specifically, where all you gotta do is repel the Black Empire by completing achievements within these zones. The actual end of BFA had N'Zoth himself invade through various areas of Azeroth, not specifically a new zone, but rather they will invade in areas like Uldum as well as Vale of Eternal Blossoms, where for a time, let's say, Blossom is invaded by N'Zoth and everything's so shadowy and voidy, while the other zone is still invaded by other forces. So there's always something going on. There's a bunch of different invasions for you to participate in, and these invasions and assaults usually rotated once every week or half a week, one of those two back at BFA, swapping from one zone to the next every week specifically, which gives you a lot of different activities to participate in, either the actual N'Zothian invasions where you can get the combating the corruption, the all-consuming, as well as it's not a tumor achievements, but you will still want to work on the other zone that's getting the side invasions as well, because there's still reputations for you to grind through, as well as all the different invasions for you to experience in order to be able to get the Black Empire State of Mind achievement. And the next achievement is called Through Depths of Visions, where you'll need to unlock horrific visions and then complete achievements within horrific visions. As you complete the main storyline, especially with the Black Empire, you'll be able to unlock an activity called Horrific Visions, which are kind of like dungeons, sorta, but for a solo player. They're somewhat like a delve, but not really. They're basically scenarios where you get to enter a more twisted version of Orgrimmar or Stormwind, and you'll progress through the vision as far as you can, slaying foes, elites, and mini-bosses, but also trying to make sure to turn around and head back to slay the final boss when your insanity bar starts to get a little bit too low. And part of the mechanic in there is to manage your insanity as best as possible, but as you upgrade your cloak, the legendary cloak that you'll be able to unlock as you do in Horrific Visions, it does make it easier for it to stay in there a little bit longer. You must complete both versions of the vision, the Alliance and as well as the Horde version, as well as you'll need to get currency from visions in order to unlock new perks and buffs within the Titanic Research Archive, which you'll be doing while you're focusing on the Black Empire questline. The next achievement is called Full Heart Can't Lose, and it's an achievement for basically buffing up and upgrading your Heart of Azeroth to its full potential. Most of these you'll be able to complete while following the main storyline of Battle for Azeroth for every other achievement that we talked about so far, though it may take you some time to collect all of the different essences that you can slot in your Heart of Azeroth, because a lot of them came from a variety of different content. Some came from reputations and a log behind those reps, which we'll need to work towards. You'll be working on those for achievements anyway, but some of them will be locked behind vendors or behind certain boss skills or behind certain objectives, so it may take a little bit of time to collect all of them before you can unlock a Full Heart Can't Lose. The next one is actually a really fun one, is the Transmog achievement, Dress to Kill Battle for Azeroth. We have to complete 4 of the Battle for Azeroth appearance achievements listed below. You don't have to complete all of them, just some of them. You have the transmogs available for all the different raids as well as the war fronts, but also some of the easy ones to get, which are the PvP objectives, like Tall, Dark, Sinister from the Season 2 of BFA, Never Lose, Never Choose to from Season 3 of BFA, as well as Eyes Have It, which is the PvP sets from Season 4. But also Don't Warfront Me, which is Season 1 PvP sets, all of which can be purchased from PvP vendors in Borealis or kind of off to the side of Zuldazar. And I think those are probably going to be the easiest ones to get. All you need is that special PvP currency of Marks of Honor in order to purchase the sets, but that'll be the easiest one for you to obtain unless you want to farm some new mogs within the raids as well. That can also work just fine. And the last achievement is going to be To All the Squirrels as Set Sail to Sea, where you have to find all the different new critters that were added with Kultiris and Zandalar, and then hit them with a /love emote. From the honeybee to the olive wing to just bad to Diergard gull, there's a lot of different critters to find out there, but the easiest way to find them is to check out the comment section for the WoWHead link we'll have related to this achievement specifically, which gives you some of the areas where you could find these critters as well as the coordinates in order to make that search for critters much easier. And as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching this guide video, and I do hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very much appreciate it. It was a pretty big project to put together to really combine all of the different achievements and do a bit of research and put together the written guide. So if you want to check it out, that'll be found in our Discord channel. You should definitely join our Discord community. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.